Continuing on with tips for what to do in Nicaragua. On our third day, we're learning.
We're not continuing because they just stopped the video and we started the video.
Thanks for your input. Now we have to delete that.
I know.
Anyway,
I will have to delete it.
Cole is being difficult this morning.
No, I'm
One of the things that I learned the hard way is that you do not put toilet paper in the toilet.
not. Yeah. I'm still not learning.
It goes in a garbage can next to the toilet because they have septic systems here. Apparently, city sewage is not a thing. At least that's what I understand. So do not put it in the toilet.
I can't stop.
Can you think of anything else that you think would be useful?
The water is fine except you might get a something.
Oh, that's right. Our first day here, we gulped down a bunch of water from the tap, ignorantly, thinking that was okay.
Actually, you did. I drank a little bit and then said, wait, is the water safe?
So far, we don't have any problems whatsoever. But maybe some Americans do. What they told me after I had drunk a lot of water, thinking, well, we're in an American hotel run by an American, so of course the water is good.
Maybe it is.
No recomendable. No es recomendable.
Don't recommend.
It is not recommended to drink the water if you are a gringo like us.
Maybe it is safe because we didn't get it.
Let's see, taxis. Taxis are about $1 around town. So you can, if you happen to have dollars, then you can use those, or you can use the Cordobas. So not very expensive.
250 Cordobas?
In Nicaragua, much cheaper than Costa Rica for taxis. Everything seems much cheaper here than Costa Rica because it's so hard to get here, and because Americans tend to have a fear of coming to Nicaragua right now because of the state of politics here.
Yes, it's pretty bad.
But I do not feel at all unsafe. I have not had a moment where I felt unsafe.
It's fine in Grenada.
I think if you stick to major tourist areas and you don't get involved in political issues, I think you're totally fine. I have no worries about that.
And also, the money here is actually a lot more beautiful than the United States.
Very pretty, very pretty. Dinero, very pretty.
This is 28 cents right here.
Right.
And it's so beautiful.
And another thing I've been thinking a lot about is they have a lot of horse and carts that they are renting for $1 a ride here. Horses are literally starving, and they do not take care of them. They do not take care of animals. Animals are roaming the streets.
There's dogs,
Dogs,
there's
cats, unneutered, with skin conditions, starving to death. With regard to the horses, I watched a lot of YouTube videos, and they say, well, you should take a ride so they'll feed their horses. That's not true. Anything you support is going to be perpetuated. So not a good idea to support cruelty to animals, which is unfortunate here, but is all over Central America. I didn't see it in Costa Rica, though. I saw it in Costa Rica, people were taking care of their animals.
Like even the cats that are usually out, even if they have an owner, weren't even there.
Right. But here, apparently, a lot of the NGOs have disappeared in the last few years since because of the political unrest. And so there's nobody really to help with all the animal problems, and animals are literally starving in the streets. One of the worst things we saw when we came here was a lame horse starving, walking down the street, apparently been released from its carriage to wander off and die. It was just a heartbreaking sight. So don't support that industry. You can pretty much walk everywhere in Grenada without a problem, but you can also hail a taxi. And I feel, like I said, I feel very safe here. Is there anything else you think we should talk about? I'm sure there are so many things, but you can bring your ATM card, get your Cordobas that way. or your dollars. Dollars will also come out of the ATM machines, or you can go to a bank.
Oh. And there's also lots of people asking for money here. Too.
Oh, homeless situation is very different from the United States and other developed countries. People really are starving and or hungry. And
we had a guy that said he was couldn't speak.
Mute.
But it doesn't matter. We had a plate of stuff that we weren't going to eat because it was way too much. So we gave it to him. And he ate it all up.
Yes, it was gone in a minute. And I felt pretty good giving away money to people, even though we were sort of giving ridiculous amounts of money the first day we were here. We enjoyed giving them things because
it was fun meeting them.
They were entertaining. They were skilled craftspeople who were selling us things.
We'll show you a piece of artwork that they gave us.
Basically, we just had dinner. We sat there on the street and had dinner. Beautiful cafe, tree-lined street, pedestrian street here in Granada. And there were dogs everywhere. We must have fed like 5 dogs and one person, and then given money to several people. Because this is our first day, and we had no clue about what the currency value was. But we had a great time.
We were giving out $2 each.
I did not feel like it was a dangerous situation. I actually really enjoyed talking to these people, and it was great. It was a great way to practice the language. So if you feel comfortable with that, it's a great way to learn some Spanish.
The guy that made the artwork, you actually gave a total of $4 to.
I think I actually gave him $9 total. Yeah, so because I gave him 300 Cordobas, right? Isn't that what I gave him? I don't know. I was literally handing out money like it was candy because I had no clue what things were worth.
That's like $6 or $7.
But it's okay. I lost $20 the first day we were here, and I don't feel like I was taken advantage of. I gave freely because it just felt good. It just felt good to give, and everything for them that pays probably for their whole week.
The guy that that was making artwork, he was like down the street, with a giant grin on his face.
Right. We basically made it so he could leave. He didn't need to stay there anymore because he made enough. He made enough maybe for the week to support his family.
I've never seen such a big smile on him.
Yeah. He did wonderful work. So I felt good about buying things that
were worth something.
That we wanted, that someone put their effort into. So don't be afraid to buy things from people on the street. It's really enjoyable to interact with the local people here. They're very very grateful and friendly. And speaking of food, sitting there on the street with music and people singing. There was karaoke right next door.
They were so bad.
Really bad karaoke. It's a great street scene. It's so much fun, and you don't spend very much.
It's just down that way.
We were being really extravagant with buying things, and we only spent $22 on our meal, including tax and tip.
And also, another thing. So the people that own this hotel own 2 restaurants. One of them is over there. It's like right next to this.
Mm-hmm.
And the one we went to.
Yes, we went to one called Nectar, which is owned by the same people who own our
but we
hotel.
didn't know that when we went there. So somehow, magically, we went to the same place that owned the hotel.
Right.
How does it even happen?
It's a very small world. We're finding out that the at least the gringo world where tourists inhabit, you tend to meet the same people over and over again.
We also were watching this YouTube channel called I don't remember. Just look up Grenada, Nicaragua, and it'll be one of the top ones. And we met them at the airport. You know, with like 1,000 subscribers, they have 1,000 subscribers. And somehow we met them at the airport, just walking in, while we were just sitting there. I mean, how does it even happen?
Right. There's it's really important to talk to people. So talk to as many people as possible. If we didn't talk to people, we probably would not have gotten across the border. We found out from them that, what, you want to say?
We need a PCR test.
Right. We had the wrong kind of COVID test. So just talking to them, we got the information we needed to cross the border. Otherwise, we would have gone through that whole ordeal of getting to Peñas Blancas, which is the border crossing city. And we would have been rejected and had to figure out a taxi back or one of the chicken buses back. And then we had no place to stay. And then we would have given up our reservation, and it would have been a big mess. So talk to as many people as possible because you keep learning things. And then I had to talk to about 5 different people to catch the city bus because people don't give very clear directions. And they're not likely to give you directions that would result in less money for them. So the taxi ride in Costa Rica to Liberia was $35. The shuttle was about $50 for a 12-minute ride. And the bus was about $1.
It was amazing.
So, or maybe it was a little bit more than $1, but
It was $4.
nobody wanted to give us that info.
Except for their change guy.
Except for the guy who gave us change because he had no financial stake in it. Because I asked several shuttle companies for information on the Cole videoing.
I know.
I asked them for information regarding the local bus, and of course they wouldn't give me that information because then they lose money. And then I asked other people, and they couldn't give me directions. But basically, all the green buses are local public buses, and they take you right into the town. And don't be afraid to take one because the bus driver, it's perfectly safe. Bus drivers will help you. And we had no problems at all. Just taking one of the green buses, giving them our money, and then walking about 5 blocks to our hotel. Not a problem at all. Is there anything else that you want to add?
Oh, people are not going to give you the right directions.
Right. Basically what I said.
No.
Or they give you incomplete directions.
They'll
I would
be
say.
like, walk 2 blocks, and no, it's actually seven blocks and to the left.
Right. So yesterday our language instructor said it's a few blocks that direction. Well, it turned out to be about 7 blocks one direction and 3 blocks in another direction. And I should have taken a taxi. So, and so that leads us to the final tip, which is before you leave, if you're not going to have cell service down here, like we don't have cell service, we use Wi-Fi everywhere. And our phone works with Wi-Fi, which is great. So it's Wi-Fi calling, so I can still use my US number.
Yes.
I downloaded all the maps for the areas that we were going to travel on, so I could use them offline. And so wherever I go, it uses satellite. And this is really important because people are giving us really bad directions. And it's not because I can't understand them. I can understand exactly what they're saying in Spanish, but they're bad directions. So, like, we waited in Liberia for the Tika bus, which is the big long-distance bus that goes across the border.
A school bus.
It's not a school bus.
It looks like a school bus.
Anyway, I don't think it looks like a school bus at all. It's really important that you know what your bus looks like.
Tika bus. I was thinking about chicken bus. Sorry.
Right. No, Tika bus. It's important that you look online to see what your bus looks like so you can see it when it's coming because there are lots of different buses coming and going.
So the one we went to is they didn't tell us exactly. They just said in front of the Taco Bell.
Right.
but it actually was in the middle of the street.
It was in the median.
Yeah.
And no one told us that. So we were sitting in front of the Taco Bell, and due to the difficulty of crossing the road, if we had sat there and and followed their directions, we never would have made it on the bus because they won't wait for you. So it's incredibly important to be observant and to ask lots of questions and to keep asking questions because the buses don't arrive on time. Our bus was an hour late, and the directions were totally wrong.
And the way we figured that out is we were just looking around and we saw someone with a suitcase. And then and so we decided to go to and ask her. And she said she was waiting for the ticket bus.
Right. And the other thing that I learned is that just because the technology for something doesn't work today
It'll work tomorrow.
doesn't mean it won't work tomorrow. So usually in the United States, we just assume it's broken, it's not going to work.
Because that's how it is, you know?
Right? It's either not broken. People are either, managing their technology or they're not. But here, that's not the case. Something can not work for days and then suddenly it will work. So if you need a reservation and you can't do it online, for example, with Tika Bus, I couldn't do it for like 3 days, and then voila, everything worked and they responded to me. But you just have to keep asking questions, and if you don't get the answer you want, you keep asking more people.
A different person, yeah.
There is a clear divide between what tourists pay and what everybody else pays. And we are figuring that out. If you go to local places, then where tourists don't go, you tend to pay local prices. If you go where tourists go, you pay tourist prices. But you know what? It's still a lot less than Europe and the United States,
Yeah.
and other developed countries. So no matter what, you're going to be getting a great deal on whatever you do, especially in Nicaragua because the industry is suffering so much right now. We are literally, I think, the only people staying here, and so we get staff and the pool and the hotel to ourselves due to the economy being so poor right now. But it is gorgeous. It's run by an American who lives here.
Have they been that way?
Everything is immaculately clean and historic and well maintained, and we pay $33 a night for everything, including this wonderful breakfast. So I think that wraps it up. Can't think of anything else. We'll add more tips as we stay here.
It's been our second day.